I think of the green world around us as this great green pharmacy that we have available to exploit for medicines. What a shame if we destroy that green pharmacy before we've even found all the medicines that it contains.
Monarchs are not unique in that they're using medicinal compounds in plants around them to medicate themselves against parasites, but this is one of the first examples where we see global environmental change, elevated CO2, altering the medicinal quality of plants, and then altering the host-parasite interaction that ensues.
All organisms on Earth have parasites of various kinds. Butterflies, like monarchs, have multiple parasite species. So the question is, how do animals combat their parasites? Humans, of course, have a long history of getting medicines from plants. We get digitalis from foxgloves, we get aspirin from willow trees, Taxol, anti-cancer drug, a real important drug from yew trees. Monarchs have a parasite, and we were interested to know how monarchs combat this parasite. But more importantly, given how fast the world is changing, all of this environmental change that's going on, how would that influence their ability to use these natural medicines?
Because monarchs are specialists, they only eat milkweed, it allowed us to ask the question of what happens when the chemical quality of that plant changes under elevated CO2.
So the basic idea was to mimic future environmental conditions, grow plants in those conditions, and then say, have the medicinal properties increased or decreased, or do they remain unchanged?
We did our work at the University of Michigan Biological Station, and we grew the milkweed outside in these CO2 chambers. Supplemented the chambers with extra CO2 that were supposed to be elevated, and we grew these plants under these future environments.
And then we feed that milkweed to monarch caterpillars, and we infect those caterpillars with the parasite.
We found that monarch lifespan decreased when they fed on milkweed that was grown under this future environment, and they were infected with the parasite. Elevated CO2 was reducing the medicinal quality of that milkweed for the monarchs.
The implications of this kind of work go far beyond monarch butterflies. We use medicinal plants. Turns out that most organisms use medicinal plants. It seems entirely reasonable that if future atmospheric conditions have a negative impact on the monarch's ability to medicate itself, it's going to have the same kind of implications for other organisms, including ourselves. It adds yet more incentive for us to find ways to stop putting CO2 into the atmosphere.